I, Maximilian Jackson, do promise my testimony I am about to give to the TRC is the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you today?
I'm trying to try.
Thank God.
Thank God.
I want to welcome you to the TRC public hearings and tell you thanks for taking up your valuable time to come and share your experience with us.
Yeah.
We are happy that people can take up their time to come because we feel, and it is, a citizen's obligation to support a process that will lead to national peace and reconciliation. That's why we commend everybody. That's why we commend everybody who comes forward and is able to share their experience with us. So we want to thank you. At this stage, the commissioners are here. I will take the time to introduce the commissioners to you. At the far end of my right is Commissioner Sheikh Akuma Kone.
You're welcome.
Next to him is Gerald Coleman.
Welcome.
Next to him is Umu Sila.
You're welcome.
And next to her is Dede Dorope.
You're welcome.
At the immediate left of mine is Massa Washington.
You're welcome.
Next to her is John Stewart.
You're welcome.
And at my extreme left is Commissioner Per Brambu.
You're welcome.
I am Jerome Radio.
Always heard your name over radio.
Oh, okay. So welcome. This is the process and this is the time. Can you kindly repeat your name again?
My name is Maximilian Jackson.
Your date of birth?
August 29, 1955.
Are you currently engaged in any form of employment, whether self-employment or by anybody else?
Well, as per se, I am self-employed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
The stage is all yours. You may choose to stand or be seated.
Please repeat.
The stage is all yours.
Mm-hmm.
You may choose to stand or remain seated.
Well,
take your time and express yourself.
Yeah, I can still sit down.
Okay.
In the first place, thank you for your concern of affected civilian grievances. So, myself, I did appreciate it. So, thank you, Mr. Vardia, or Councillor Vardia.
Thank you.
Okay.
You may proceed.
Okay. Well, I was at the age of 22 when Charles Taylor NPFL buried my entire life, of which today I am looking like this. What actually happened at the initial stage, I went to inform my mother not to go out because she's always going to market sooner. So while coming back, I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately for me, they grabbed an ex-soldier man. The first Land River lesson plate in time year 1990, September 5th, it was a head of a soldier man. And I was at that present. That one did not make me afraid. I took a cash of bravery listening or looking. But what actually made me afraid to have jumped in the bush, one of the rebels was naked. I don't know, it's an invention of Hispanic or he used a knife. There was a little girl that left on the street by their parents, I don't know. The guy went and grabbed this little girl. I don't know whether he used Hispanic or a sharp knife. I have not seen human intestine. So he had this girl, he was still naked, he had this girl on his pendant, and the girl, I don't know whether her intestine came out. That will make me afraid. I jump in the bush. When I jump in the bush, they shot at me over an hour. I was having a watch on me. After that shooting, I never knew that what they call ambush. I came out. When I came out, within the trick of an eye, they surrounded me. So afraid, threw me or even urinated in my trousers. Within that time, there's a fellow I can remember, Willenti Sumo, he gave an instruction that how they shot my two hands, of which today I am deformed. After that, I was taken to the hospital. But the guy that shot me, I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately for him, he was shot for stealing someone's gold in Grand Crew. They call him one Richie Curran Richie. He's a bastard fellow. For the 15 years I was tracing him, but he died, so I just forgot about it. But only the guy that gave the command is the only guy that sometimes I can think about, which is willing to sumo. After that, I was in a hospital. Dr. Cooper is still alive, he's in a state. Mose Blah, who was vice president or president, with one John Beaton. John Beaton was working with agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture in the fisheries section. They ordered me from the hospital to open continuance because I was in charge of the port during that time. They ordered me by force from the hospital. Dr. Cooper permitted them to carry me. They took me to the port and they forced me to show them where the Sipe Land River jeeps were. I showed them. When they bust these jeeps, the containers open by guns, they trying to release me. John Beaton went and kicked in my butt. I fainted. They carried me back to the hospital again. I was there for some weeks. There came a vessel from Guinea. There I was. The sailors of the vessel, for their own shoe, what made me run away, I went back to Ivory Coast. They took the fellow's shoe. The fellow refused. They have to behead him. It was the NPFL soldiers. I ran back to Taboo. The Simbly and others found way, I think through the Cali Bridge, they brought me back to be controlling the port because I did port management to be controlling the port. Mose Blah had me in town, using me as a labor. Whenever a vessel came in, they make me to make the charges to whosoever the goods were going to, but they will not pay me. Mose Blah is still living. He knows me well. That was the only maltreatment I got during the whole crisis with the deformation that I am having.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you also.
Please accept our empathy for the injury and the loss that is sustained, the loss of your limbs, and all of that, and the maltreatment you underwent through forced labor. This is why the TRC was established, in order to establish the pattern of human rights abuses and how citizens suffered innocently for no fault of theirs, so that with a comprehensive understanding of what transpired, as a nation and people, we can find a way to move forward. So we deeply empathize with you and realize that the situation is regrettable. We are happy that you could come forward and share this information with us. So at this time, commissioners will ask you a couple of questions so that they can understand your situation and your testimony much better. Is something wrong? Are you understanding me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, sir. So we'll start with Sheikh Akuma Kore.
Mr. Witness, like the chairman said, we are sorry for what happened to you.
Thank you.
And we hope you will bear it as a man of God, so that he will give you in his own way a recovery. Accept it as a trial and as a challenge to you, whether or not you will still continue to appreciate God as your created and Lord.
It's the one I believe in.
Now, you talk about one General William Sumo.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You say he was commanding.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Do you know his whereabouts today?
Yes. Yes. I was even tracing him on Randolph Street before, but you were very smart to have checked up. I will not relent whatsoever I see here. But I know where he's living now. It's at a suburb in Monrovia at Dupo Road. I will not relent because I'm hurt.
We hope that your vow of not
Come here again.
I say I hope that vow that you have taken, never to relent until you find him, should be done peacefully. And since the matter has reached to the attention of the Commission, we want to inform you that the Commission is given the power to bring two of you.
Excuse, sir. When I did say I will not relent, I am talking about whatsoever statement I made, none to go into any friction, nothing. So that I have said it, it is finished with.
Thank you. Will you be willing to sit around conference table with this William Small?
Yes.
In a peaceful atmosphere, with all the pains, the agonies, the frustration, you will stay exercised, restrained, and sit so that we can fully hear.
Yes. So long it has been echoed or it has been forgotten.
All right. You also made mention of one General Moses Black.
Yes.
Who is this Moses Black?
Well, in this area, during that he was a commando. But after some time, he became vice president and president. And he can call Black. He knows me well. Black knows me well.
That's it. What about General Binton? John Binton.
John Binton? Yes, I just got to know him when they forced me to go and open CPEC containers where they had a jeeps. There I just got his name. But all I know is was working with agriculture in the fishery section as an ascertain from people.
When General Moses Blige sent for you and he sought you to be wounded.
Yes.
What was his attitude toward you?
Well, to my understanding with the pains, I'm a human. He was still in a human way to maltreat me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Witness, for sharing with us your story. I just have a few questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You mentioned about General Blah and General Bento. Were these the only two major generals in charge of the NPFL at that time in Maryland, or do you know of any other, like a General Down or something?
Please call me again.
The two generals you mentioned, Were there any other general that you knew for this group at that time?
Yes.
What were their names, please?
Come here again.
The names of the other generals.
No, only the two generals I know about.
Only those two generals you knew.
But everybody was big men. But the guy that they were having, sugar boy that always guarding them. They were the only two people names I did recall in my mind.
Okay. This General Bintor, was he a citizen of this area before?
Come here again.
The General Bintor, was he somebody who lived in this area before with all of you in the community?
Mr. Bintor, he was not a general. He was a civilian, but he has a connection with Blah. I know him to be working with Ministry of Agriculture in the fisheries section.
Okay, so I mean he was a citizen living in this area?
He was controlling almost the FDA here.
Before the war came?
During the war. He was not residing here, but after the incursion he was here.
Aha, okay, that's what I wanted to understand. So he wasn't here before?
No.
But after the war they brought him and put him in charge?
In the FDA department.
Okay, thank you. Then, did you have any other experience while you were here after the NPFL time? Like when the LPC or the other groups came through Maryland? There any other experience you would like to share with us, or that was the only major one?
Well, the fact is the fact. The first incident that happened to me, I never used to give myself chance to witness anything. Okay. So I never witnessed other LPC, Nino model.
Okay, you did yourself. All right. Okay, thank you for now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Also,
for coming to the TRC to share your experience. And we say normal for what happened to you. You talk about one little girl that was sitting on the lap of this fighter.
Yeah.
Can you remember the name of that fighter?
The truth is the truth. We all were in Harrow, so I can't lie to you. I don't know his name. But if he's living, it's hard for me to forget someone's feature. I was know him. But at time, I don't know him. I was so afraid I jumped in the bush. And since that time, I've been missing him.
Now, you said before the war, where did you work?
Myself? Where I was working? I've been working with NPA.
Okay. And in your testimony, you say you know Moses Bly very well.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how you got to know him? Yes.
Well, I got to know him well from his activity during the rebel time. And he was a big man. Everybody used to go around taking order from him, and his behavior for respect, some other used to look at him. So that's how I got to know him, and reading about him when he became president or vice president. It's how I actually got to know him well.
Can you tell us some of the activities of Moses Bly that time as a general?
Well, to my own experience, he's a bite and blow man. He treat you bad, then afterward he make you happy. That's what I know about him. But I was very skeptical of getting around him.
Now, besides Moses Bly, you mentioned the name of another general.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that name?
Willenti Sumo.
And then you said one John Beetle kicked you after they brought you from the hospital.
Yeah, kick me. After I have showed them the continuum that have been holding up the CPE Land Rover Jeeps that they wanted to use. CPE was a rubber company from Belgium operating at Firestone here.
At that time, their soul, the amputation was still...
It was still there.
It was still fresh, yeah. The soul was there.
Yeah. Charles Cooper is still alive in the States. He is my witness. Dr. Charles B. Cooper. He was so afraid, so he permitted me to go with him.
How have this incident affected your life?
Pardon me?
How have this thing affected your life? What's happened to you?
Well, it affects me, or affected me well. But through prayers, I always can be comforted. If I even give you a story now, you'll be instrumental with me. 30 years gone, a woman and I have been together, but she just left me last January 8th. But I just put that into prayers. You understand? So I just believe in God, so I am not worried. I just accept it the way it is.
Thank you for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you also.
Mr. Jah?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for coming again.
Yeah.
I'll just ask you a few short questions concerning Moses Blah. You said he used you as a laborer?
Labor force.
As a labor force?
Yeah, free labor.
As free labor?
Yeah.
Now, can you explain a little bit more what do you mean by that, or what you mean by that?
Well, with the condition I was in, the men were ordering me to load vessel. The cargo were loading on a vessel that were going to Guinea. It was sun timber, blue timber, which is this plank. At the completion of any of these vessels, they will just tell us, go home. No pay, nothing. On hunger stomach. That's what I mean by that.
I remember that. Okay. Now, how long did this free labor go on?
Over 6 months. Over 6 months.
You are not the only person.
Oh, we're plenty. I have workers under me. Plenty.
Can you estimate about how many persons he was using as free laborers?
Well, actually, in the post system, we have shifting system day and night. Mm-hmm. For my condition, they use me in a day. Mm-hmm. And that actually goes on a gang hire. To each gang, there's 6 persons. All depend. The cargo to be loaded. From the tonnage, there I can use my own head to divide the people. Either 6 persons per gang or 12 persons per gang, 12 persons per gang.
And besides yourself, all these people you know were not paid for the work they were doing?
Yes, yes.
Were they all civilians or?
We're all port employees and few of us are still alive.
Oh, okay. You guys were working for the port before?
Yes, yes. And they were
okay.
using that force on us.
Oh, okay. So, I understand that. You also said that Moses Bly and John Briton. Okay.
G-B-E-T-U-M.
Okay. You said 2 of them went for you to your hospital room and took you to go and open containers for them.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit about the container, what was in the container, and what they did with the things in the container?
The container for Mensa Sipe, a Belgian company operating at Fyton as a rubber business people. They had the Land River jeeps, containerized them and stocked them up. And they did not know where these containers were. So someone told them that there's Jah who is in charge of the place. That's how they went and collected me from the hospital. And when they carried me, I showed them the containers that were bearing these Land River jeeps. Instead, when they used the guns to open them, they took all these jeeps. The only person that maltreated me was John Quinton to have kicked me, and I think that they carried me back to the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the containers contained the jeeps.
Jeeps are no.
Okay.
They were the first jeeps they used here on all their movement here. I think some citizens saw them. So where the Land River jeep.
You also mentioned that Mr. General Bly at the time was a big man. He was well known. He was popular. Can you tell us some of the things that he was engaged in besides your incident? Was there any other incident about civilians? Did he hurt anyone? Did anyone complain? What was the general situation with him? What kind of a general was he?
Well, that one, I can't lie to you. I was never, because of my condition, I was never late outside. But most of the things were happening in the night. And because of my condition, I was not always out in the night.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jah.
Thank you.
For throwing light on things that some of us probably just heard about.
Please repeat.
Thank you very much for coming to the TRC, explaining your story and throwing some light on things that we may have heard about but didn't know the details. And let me say to you how sorry we are for the ordeal we went through. We pray that you have the strength to carry on with life. Now, you mentioned about Moses Blah and Sumo as being the top two generals who were here. And you were a worker with the NPA prior to the coming of the NPFL. Tell me, as a worker with the NPA, what was the role of the port in sustaining the NPFL here in Maryland, the port of Harper? Like, for instance, what kinds of goods were being exported? What kinds of goods were being imported? Who was in charge? Who they were paying taxes to?
Well, my brother, NPA was almost a forced labor were on. They know who they were receiving the money from, but for the cargo they were receiving are not some. They were importing fuel oil here for their own use. Then exporting sun timber and the remaining logs on the food. But where the revenue were carried, I don't know. But just were forced labor.
Now, who was importing the fuel? Was it Blah and Sumo?
The fuel?
Yes.
Wherever you were coming from, but they just used to receive it from the tanker here.
Were there any Lebanese involved in the trade, in the export-import trade in the Port Harper?
Coming.
Were there any Lebanese involved in the import-export trade here at the time?
Oh, Second Vice President Abbas Fawaz. He was the president for Maryland County. Abbas Fawaz.
So he was.
Yeah.
He was the one who practically ran the port.
Yes.
And he was responsible for the collection of.
Yes.
This continued up to when?
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
Yes.
About how many ships came into the port on a weekly basis?
Pardon?
About, to the best of your recollection, how many ships came into the port on a weekly basis?
Okay, excuse me. Yes, to my own experience, during legitimate government, which were from trouble time to those time, in a month we know 3 ships, and that will carry us maybe 6 months for paying us. But during Chancellor regime, in a month, sometimes we know 10 ships.
10 ships?
10 ships. Ask anybody. I can bring some of the employees here, they will tell you.
What kind of goods that were being loaded on the ships for export?
Export was also logs.
Was any rubber being exported from this port?
Now, after some time, about lately before the model came in, the same Abbas Fawaz had control over Firestone. That the only time they started shipping rubber through Harper here.
Now, you mentioned CBEC. What was the role of CBEC?
CBEC was a company like previous Firestone. CBEC was a company from Belgium. They were operating during those regimes. And because of the NPFL war, they just left the country.
So after the NPFL came, CBEC stopped operations?
Yeah.
And who took over from CBEC?
From CBEC? That time rubber business was not going on, but after some time, the Abbas men started taking care of the rubber farm.
So, can you estimate about how much worth of logs was taken out of this port for export, and about how much income Fawaz made, where payment being made to him, to Fawaz?
Well, if I actually go by my old synopsis of the port, maybe as the low 10 ships, they might have been collecting over $1 million with Vivian Co. Whenever these ships are completed, Vivian Co, Abbas, and Nation will manage, they just go about their business in Abbas' office. Vivian Cook.
Vivian Cook.
Vivian Cook, he was our DMDO during that time, during and Taylor's regime. Vivian Cook, he was a DMDO at that cash at NPA town.
Now, can you reflect a little bit? Can you recall any arms shipment coming into this port, to the best of your knowledge? Was any arms brought in? Were any arms brought in through this port?
Yeah, there's a continuous state stock up. Actually, I was one on those because I was very hot. I would not hire it. I was hired by one SDA on Ashmore Street.
Hired by who?
SDA. SRDA.
SIDA.
Yeah, SIDA is a secret agency for incorrection of activities of a country going on by individual. So they hired me. I was one of those that wrote against Taylor of all his exploitation in Harper here.
So
I know how many kilometers he was shipping every month. Because that time they took me as a casual worker. From the specification to the manifest, and I used to receive it and pass it on to my friends. Then they send it forward to, I don't know him or right, one of the two. Globia or something.
So you don't recall any arms coming in?
Of the arms they about 3 years when model were coming in. They say Sumo, the former Superintendent Morai, and others. One Sunday we went to where they drove off because arms were on one of the SG 757, the coastal vessels. Brought this arm and they drove off. They continued to brought the arms. They stayed stuck up there. When they took all the arms, when the arm landed, they just drove every one of us. As the former superintendent in town, they call Moral, Sumo, and even Fawa were with them. Likewise with Vivian Cook. They be breaking arms. Whenever the arms are coming, the judge can say no civilian come to work.
About how many times can you remember that such shipment of arms came in?
That of the Samuel Kayendo Sumo vessel, which is the Coast Guard vessel, I went this 4 times to have brought arms here.
And did it take it from a bigger ship outside?
No, only the Coast Guard boats can bring them. Where they took them from, where they do not take them from, I do not know. But it's always come alongside the jetty by the Coast Guard boat.
So you're saying that the former Superintendent Moraes played a key role?
One of those that drove off from the port before on Sunday. I think I have it in my diary. You were one of those that drove off when we went to discharge a vessel. But as soon as the Coast Guard boat came, he said everybody with force, Legua with Sumo, they used force to drive off from the port.
The port management, did they maintain a payroll at the time? Even though you have told us that you were being told to work but you were not being paid. But did they have any kind of payroll? Were there other people they were paying?
Yes. People that were selected by Vivian Co and other and likewise with Fawaz. If you were found smart, they don't let to include themselves with you.
And where is Fawaz now? Do you know?
No. Since as I listen to Rehe, Jim Jongo, I have now seen Fawaz in the area.
Does he still have business interests in the area?
Pardon me?
Does he have business interests in this area, in the Harper area?
Well, that one, I am not a soothsayer to know his aim.
No, what I mean is, did he leave any kind of activities running and left somebody to manage it in his absence? His businesses are still running or they shut down?
Well, the only thing upon my own casual assessment is his machineries being kept in his Oya, and he has some watchmen and security on them.
And where are the missionaries now?
They are in MWPIR, right on River Street.
And who's in charge of them?
What they are make sure are those one permanent man who actually in charge. You call one sick one Mandingo Liberian man.
Was this equipment, did it belong to FAWAS, or it was part of the NPA's equipment?
Well, it's confusion during actual operation with NPA and when almost FAWAS on the port, but it was some sort of a barter system. You say you order the machineries for NPA, but you own them. So I don't know whether for NPA or for him.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Witness, from your statement, you said that General William T. Somo, who you believe resides presently at Duport Road, ordered his soldier, NPFL soldier, Corey Riches, to shoot you.
Yes.
And you had put up your arm to surrender. In essence, yes.
Yeah, I did.
And they shot you in the right hand.
Yeah. Both arms.
Both arms.
Yeah, but this one my wife, so my younger brother, they amputated.
Yes. But you also told us that Corey Ritchie is dead now. He died in River Cess.
Yeah.
Prior to your hand being shot, what hand did you use as the hand to work with? The right or the left? Which hand used to write?
My right hand. My right hand.
Your right hand?
Yes.
So it was your right hand that was amputated and shot?
Yeah.
I see chalk on your hands today.
Yeah.
Are you still being affected by the left hand as a result of the shooting, or is something that developed?
I like to be very factual with any other person. This one with the chalk is not from the shooting. Last year, December 6th, a motorcycle threw me down. There I have my wrist disc joint. It's not from the war.
Thank you. The TRC is about telling the truth. Truth telling, and for witnesses, that means victims and survivors like you, to come together in an environment with the alleged perpetrators so we can get a clear picture of the past to see how we can reconcile or to make the kind of recommendations. One part of our act also says that we should investigate economic crimes. That means, like what you just brought up, about people using the resources of the country is part of what we're supposed to do. The resources of the country, like our logging, our iron ore, diamond, or anything, to perpetuate it for war. That means in exchange. So from listening to you, your testimony have brought into picture one aspect of what we're supposed to do. And it's in this light I'm going to get a little clearer picture. But before going, you mentioned that SIDA, that's a place on Ashmont Street.
Excuse. It's a mistake. Benson Street.
Benson Street. That organization, they try to do the private investigation on what they call it, secret investigation. What SIDA means? Do you know what SIDA means?
I forget the whole business.
Okay, yeah. But then I just want you to please again refresh me a clear picture on what SIDA does. It got its own private investigation on to see those who selling bringing in arms or what?
No. They actually investigate people that are taking the Liberian government raw material, like during this Taylor regime in Cape Palmont. They did destinate me to after the activities of child Taylor logging, exportation, Lekwawe Abbas.
All right, so for that period, what was the period involved? Because you've come now to tell the truth. So what was the period involved that you were giving them the investigation, like on the information? For what period, what year, if your memory can serve you?
Well, actually, I started 2001.
2001. So to when? To 2003 or up to now?
2002, between
2002. All right. Now, you mentioned the name of Abbas Fawaz.
Yeah.
You said you were with the port. You have been working with the port for more than, even up until the time of the war, 1990. You have been working as an employee with the port already.
Yes.
All right. So that means prior to 1990, the war, you knew the operation of how the port operated during the Dole regime. Now, Abbas Fawaz, isn't it a fact, or did you mention Maryland Logging Company? Did he have a business established here that he was doing prior to 1990?
With the exception of the logging.
Yeah, he was doing logging.
Yes.
In the port of Maryland.
Yes.
He had a company that he was shipping logging regularly, going and forth up prior to the war.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And he continued to do the logging up until shipping logging up until when?
Up until during the war.
So the entire, because you said 10 years, so from 1990 to 2000, Abbas Fawaz was shipping logging.
Was shipping logs. Shelley entire also know.
Shipping logging, and also Maryland Logging Company was still in existence.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, because you said Abbas Fawaz practically ran the port of Maryland. So I want to know, now that we have established that he had a logging company, were there other logging companies operating, or after the war they abandoned the place?
There was another logging company that was taking competition with him. But he used the influence to have talked with the president who was Charles Taylor, and they stopped the logging company. They called it LLWPC.
What?
LLWPC.
Liberia.
Wool processing, industry, something like that.
All right. You mentioned the names of former Superintendent Morias.
Yes.
Is that Dan Morias?
Dan Morias.
And I understand you to say that on the SG 757, they brought him with William Somo, who was the general, and Fawaz were also present, and that they brought in ammunition.
Yes, and they drove. Oh, with the.
And they offloaded the ammunition.
With the civilians did not offload it, but we went to work on the ship, and they drove off from there.
So since they drove you off from there, you were not actually present. How then did you know that there were ammunition?
Pardon me?
Since you, the civilians, were not present.
Yeah.
When these goods came.
Yeah.
They told you all to leave that day.
Yeah.
So you were not present. Then how then are you sure that the goods were ammunition? Do you have any second source or so?
I will say the truth to you. After they drove us, I came to the Fawaz warehouse. There the arms and ammunition were stored. Okay. I came in an ordinary phone and stood at the corner. And I was there, they were trucking them.
Thank you. Okay. Now, you said General Moses Z. Blah ordered his men to shoot. Order his men, sent for for the MPA warehouse
To be
keys
open
to be open.
and take the,
But I want to ask you, in this public manner, honor your oath, did you ever see General Blah, Moses Z. Blah, with a gun or pistol or anything, or giving order to shoot anyone or with a gun?
please call me again.
Did you ever see General Moses Z. Blah with a gun, like any kind of ammunition in his hands? Did you ever see that?
The truth is true. You are not having arm on him, but his truth just giving instruction.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you also.
Mr. Witness, just two additional questions if you don't mind.
Please speak louder.
Yeah. What is happening to you? Testing. Okay. Mr. Blah, you said was the commander, one of the commanders at that time, right?
I didn't get it, bro.
Mr. Moses Blah was one of the commanders of the NPFL at that time.
Yes.
So, would you say that he was aware of the offloading of the arms that came to the port in Maryland?
When they were doing the transporting here,
Yes.
I think I overheard that time he was ambassador to Libya, one of the two.
He was ambassador to where?
Libya, yeah. That one. It was
what county? What country? Libya. Okay.
Libya. That time he was ambassador to Libya.
Okay. So you don't remember what period or year it was when the arms offloading was happening?
No.
Okay, but it was after 1990.
Yeah.
Okay. The second one. Do you know whether during the time Mr. Fawaz was managing the port, was he collecting all revenue from any port activity privately?
Yes.
Okay.
His younger brother was almost his accountant here because he's some Fawaz.
So there was no other government type function.
No, he was
the head.
Well, the only man who can intercede was Vivian Cook.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Mr. Witness, thanks for the information you've given us thus far. You have thrown light on a number of issues.
Come here again.
I'm saying your testimony has thrown light on a number of issues that related to the conflict period in Maryland.
Yeah.
And so we appreciate it very much.
Okay.
You referred to Mr. Fawaz as second vice president.
Yes. Ask anybody here. And then true citizen of Maryland can tell you.
Why would you designate him second vice or president of Maryland?
According to his servant and service that we can see and the way Sawyer can guide him. I describe him like that.
So he was very powerful.
Very, very powerful. Yeah.
He had armed men guiding him through.
Yes.
And the view that he was like a president in Maryland is
Yes,
a common view of all the citizens of Maryland.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much again. We appreciate you coming to take off your time to share your experience with us. We, at this time, will ask you if you have anything finally to say to us before you leave. Any last word you may now share with the Commission.
Thank you. Okay. I think you are here, you have heard my explanation and so forth. So everything has its support. I think in this manner, public manner too, I would like to make my casual recommendation to you. For we affected civilian within the Liberian crisis.
You may proceed.
So the first one is
yes, go ahead.
I want your current office to please provide for an affected civilian within the Liberian civil crisis. If I'm talking about improvisation something like artificial arms, lenses, wheelchairs for only affected civilian. For only affected civilian. Number 2, to still use your current office to make an improvision for affected civilian to fit in a society whereby they are to work. They are to work than to become street beggars. I think that while I think I can just recommend.
Okay.
Thank you.
I want to thank you very much for those salient recommendations. And I want to emphasize this is the reason why we established the TRC. Our responsibility is to go around the country, assess the situation, determine how it was possible for this violence to come about, who were responsible, who were victimized. And in doing so, we have to make recommendations on what needs to be done for those who suffer, like you said, the affected civilians. So your recommendations and your testimonies have proven very valuable and has added to our work. I assure you that at the end of the day, when we do our final recommendations, the voices of all Liberians will be heard through the process and in our end product. So your coming here is the fulfillment of a patriotic obligation to your country, and we appreciate it very, very much. Okay, sir.
In the first place, you are blessing my burden for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.